Still recovering. I don't like weddings. I'm still recovering from this wedding. It's so crazy, right? The shit people say to you that you just sort of have to internalize and move on. But I've come to a new life sort of realization about these things is that I'm not doing them anymore. Um, I get a lot of energy of wanting to be a good and decent dude, and a lot of energy of people wanting to embarrass you for it. So I'm not doing it anymore. But I'm not going to be the one cursing people out at weddings either. We're not doing that. We're just not doing that anymore. All right, so I've got speaker issues. My bass is all out of my system. It's all high. It's all trebles and midtones, and mostly treble. And I'm just kind of like, that makes sense. I've had these speakers forever. Something had to go. They're not expensive. They were fairly decent gaming speakers. I guess that makes sense. Can't really hate on it. Got my money's worth. The system is not that expensive. And we move on. Let's give ourselves a couple of minutes to settle in. Your homie, has been here doing all kind of bold and progressive shiznit and pie in the sky dreaming. That's part of what this is about, right? Dreamers dream. You get a lot of shit by people who don't like to dream or don't know how to dream. And since the majority of dreamers are just dreaming, right? At one point, Microsoft and Amazon, they were all dreams in someone's head before they took a pen, filled out a piece of paper to say we're starting this company, corporation, whatever, this hobby, right? Once you put it online, it's yours. Uh, Dreams, baby, baby, dreams. And that's what you do. Sadly, people don't like your dreams. Your dreams are annoying to people. Maybe they never had any of their own, or maybe they invested and it didn't turn out, and now they were sad or hurtful or unhappy in some way. And you being young and energetic or just driven by it and having done the whole thing for all this time, when you speak of dreams, they get upset about it. So I would tell some people told me don't tell people what you think because they'll just piss on it, and I get that. And I didn't realize then what I realize now. Yeah, okay. All right. So, oh, my alarm clock isn't alarm clocking. All right. I wonder if this thing because I left it. The iPads and their charge are. I mean, yeah, this thing has 1% juice on it. Let's just leave that alone. All right. Uh, let's set this thing for an hour and a half. Let's set it for an hour and 10 minutes. We're gonna change the political shows, man. We do an hour and 15 minutes. It needs to be a little more standard to like 45 minutes to an hour, quite frankly. And then we'll do all the stuff. All the other stuff is I don't know. I don't know. I started out as teach myself music, sort of spun back into politics talking, which is you know here's the thing about politics. You sort of I'm gonna pat myself on the back here. You sort of have to be brave to talk politics online because not only does everyone have an opinion on politics online, some people know what they're talking about, and they can easily tune in and go, I get an example. Sports. Let's take another topic, right? So I'm running a sports show. I like to watch sports. I don't know much history about sports. Who broke this record when they broke it? Why this guy is great? I know this guy is great because he ran the most yards and he jumped over the most dudes and he scored the most points, right? Then to make it something that you can sell people, you have to talk about ethnicities and personal struggles and all of this, right? To you have to heap all this soap opera melodrama on them. Um, I don't do that. Oh, excuse me. Hey, William. Good to see you in the chat. Uh, so I don't do that. I think the melodrama is really what sort of mangled, can we say, American television, right? American television, the people who set that up, and I could be super racist if I wanted to, because they were all really one group who had their finger pointed at one other group. Um, and they sold that to you with melodrama, right? All American movies are based on melodrama, right? So it's this idea of um, not just a good and interesting story. You can find a good and interesting story without very much melodrama in like a trillion novels, right? The written word is different than imagery. Imagery can has the ability to make you believe the people, the actors on your screen are, even as you know, he's not really a spaceman in space with a laser gun, right? Those are the things you're more likely to sort of believe with caveats, right? So you want to believe in Jedi's and dress like this and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, you're solidly grounded in the world. So you don't really believe it. But stuff that gets closer to that, like what they call um, realism without being drama. So like realism are all the films that are based sort of like, now my nose is about to, I'm about to sneeze in my nose. Where's that thing I had in here? Yeah, I'm about to sneeze in my nose. All right. Forget me. Me knew the language. Just forget about it. Um, so I'm sorry. My whole train of thought is blown because now I gotta sneeze. My whole train of thought is not what I was talking about. I was talking about melodrama. So anyway, long story longer. Melodrama is simply that energy, that emotional energy that they sort of heap into, which is you have to come by more honestly in books and in literature, right? If I wrote you an article about the Ukraine, I guess I could throw a lot of, is this jacket, is this shirt uneven? Did I buy it uneven? The pockets are slightly uneven. This is gonna make me crazy. Uh, that is amazing. Is it the shirt or is it me? Normally, I look for stuff like this. I don't generally like anomalies in clothing like this. I think it's just me, but I think it's the shirt. But I think it's just me. But I also think it's the shirt. But I think it's just me. But it's likely not me. So likely the shirt. All right. All right. Let's get the show started. Couple of things I want to talk about. Ketanji Brown. Let's write them down. Uh, I'm sure people are proud of her. You know, she should be super proud. Her family should be super proud. Her mom and dad should be super duper proud. I don't really know about everybody else. She's a, I mean, she's got one of the 10 best jobs in the country, right? It's hers. It's hers forever. She can come to work. They for what they have to do to remove her. It's the same kind of shit they had to do for her to get the job, right? You have to have a giant convening of 50 senators and congressmen, and they have to essentially put you on trial. And then those 50 senators and congressmen will vote against you or not. And all the Democrats are going to go, I'm not going to vote against her, right? Depending on if you have enough Democrats or Republicans. And it's not something that people want to do because the next time around, out when the numbers don't favor whomever, they go kick your guys off, right? And your guys are 6-3 now. So the last thing you want to do is be fucking with throwing people off the bench, off the bench, like it's a baseball reference, but it is a reference. Taking people off the court, because if the Democrats get their shit together, all your guys could be off the court in the next year. But let's remember, the Democrats, the only thing they ever did that was ballsy was impeach somebody twice. It was completely political and full of shit. It really was. And they impeached them twice within, I want to say, 5 months of each other, and then struck him from speaking to the population, a sitting president. It's the kind of shit that people do behind the Iron Curtain. It really is. And people sit here going, fuck Donald Trump, fuck. That's not my point. My point is the evil shit they do shows that they're evil. And it shows why nothing works. Donald Trump was never going to be your savior. A billionaire who's going to put food on your table? Shut up. What is this? The fucking Gilded Age? That didn't work then, 100 years ago, right? the shtick here is to tell you help is always coming. Oh, your house is on fire? I called the fire department. Oh, they're coming. Meanwhile, you're in there eating steak as big as fucking babies. Um, right? What you have here is people who know you're lying to them and who are tired of your bullshit. And you have those people implementing all their stopgap measures to make sure that they can still. You only have rights until you need them, and see who lets you have them. So, one, no one has rights in North Korea, but in most of here we go. Most of the fake Western nations. Now I got to check my internet. Most of these Western nations, Western motif nations, let's just say, uh, their whole thing is when you need them, like Russia, right? Uh, Russia claims to be like Western, but when you need your freedom of speech or whatever, they come and arrest you. They beat you to death in jail. So here in America, right, you can use it if they read what you're saying, they don't mind it. Then you've got freedom of speech in Russia. Here in America, you don't have freedom of speech either. There's been a lot of black outlet newspapers that were all shut down, and there's not one left. The one I remember was the one in New York, The Guardian. Read it occasionally growing up. Heard it was in financial trouble, tried to support it, and bought it regularly, and it went out of business. Right now, you get all your information from one source, and this is what they want again. They don't want all these unique voices on the internet. They don't want my voice is uniquely a black centric, black. Yeah, I'm gonna throw Christian in there, even as I'm not Christy, right? Black centric, black Christian, sagging, lacks Christian ethical with a lot of sort of um Yankee Doodle bullshit thrown in. I'm completely obsessed about some shit that goes on in this country. Like people are obsessed about baseball or whatever, right? And other people you'll get their version, which has a lot of, and I find this a lot leaning heavily toward Europe. Can't wait to take a trip to Paris. Can't wait to go on a trip to Greece. They fly two flags on their lapel pins. They're all about American slash whatever European name you want to smack on it, right? And then when you have to push for change in Europe, depends on whose faction is here, who what they say, and it's always done so neatly that the factions here don't war with each other, right? So what I mean by that is the Greeks are not really crazy about the Italians, right? Europe has a history, man. Sorry to be the one to tell you, but when that shit kicks up, it rarely makes the news here because America has a vested interest in bringing Europeans here. You want it to be remain a white country. Um, where are you going to get that from? But from Europe. So the policy is, yeah, y'all all can come in here, stay fucking, yeah, but don't bring that European bullshit with you. And by that they mean the warring, right? So if you hate and now when you open up the Middle East and everything, the same thing applies. So if you come here from Palestine, you manage to get into this country, and you buy a house, and your house is next to the fucking Jews who you hate, you better shit your fucking ass down and say hi to your neighbor or don't talk to him. That's the policy. You want to buy a gun, which you can have in this great grand country, do something fucking stupid with it and pay the price for you and the people coming back. Because people will be like, I don't know if we should let these fucking Palestinians in here. And vice versa. If the Jews came here like, I'm next to the fucking filthy Palestinians, absolutely, and did some shit, the same thing applies. We had a guy come here, I want to say he was from, it might have been Iraq. It wasn't Afghanistan. They don't have a society. It was Iraq. He came here from a place that we sort of had issue with a lot of Muslim men. And he shot some people on the Brooklyn Bridge. He killed like a boy, and then they named the Brooklyn Bridge on ramp after this kid. And I was just kind of like, fuck, excuse my language. I hate to speak ill of the dead, but it went. You know, it's like to live in an all black neighborhood, and then a whole bunch of People come through and name something after somebody who doesn't live there, who hasn't lived in 100 years. They take all these pictures and they leave, and you're just standing around like, what the fuck is this, right? This is essentially where you're at and what you're up to, uh, and what I'm always raging about, right? On this little bit of pod that I have in this great wide world. Um, I just find it amazing. All right, let's get into some of these things. I took some pictures. Are we gonna put? Let's put up the. We're not gonna do that. Let's put up this. So yeah, so it's hard. It's hard to tell you what because it's not really a black centric podcast. But you will get some fucking. You will get you will get the drama rama, right? From me, and I'm not saying I'm right and everybody's wrong. I just talk about things from my own point of view. I guess that's all you really can do. Talk about things from your own point of view. But I talk stuff that people I don't know. Um, like and subscribe if you feel me. How about that? All right. So we wanted to talk about. I had a couple of things. Three things, right? Is what I used to do. It used to take me about an hour. Sometimes I fall all in on one, and that takes me the hour. Sometimes ugh, sometimes I don't have anything, and that still takes me an hour. Ha! All right. 56 minutes on the phone. Let's check. I want to check my photos for any names that I have. Yeah, okay, we did that. Supreme Court makes it easy to sue cops for malicious prosecution. I should keep these. The judge who killed himself after the cops raided his home because he was obviously taking bribes, in my opinion. But you can't say that now because he killed himself, even as he was under investigation and his house was raided. Now no one's going to look into any of the things that he did while he was on the bench, which is what they all want to do. They just want to rubber stamp convictions or rubber stamp not just convictions, but verdicts. Oh, this verdict says I own your whole thing that you built, and you get none of it. Ah, fuck you. Swallowed into giant conglomerate X or whatever, right? That's what the judiciary rubber stamps evil shit for the rich elite class, and I think everybody knows it. And you can't do what you used to do by, like bait and switch, like, oh, look at what the blacks are doing, right? And then the media talks about the blacks for 9 months, while you go arrogantly and boldly walk into Congress, plop down giant money on some corrupt senator's desk, and go give me this. New York AG seeks to hold Donald Trump in civil contempt. I thought this was interesting too. Let's talk about this. We're not even going to read the story though. New NY as New York State AG, Assistant Attorney General rather, seeks to hold. Sorry, I should probably move that over or move this over. Woo-hoo. Seeks to hold Donald Trump. I thought this was interesting for a couple of reasons. One, I'm telling you, Donald Trump is not going to jail. I've been saying that forever, and they keep telling you, like, have faith that we're going to put him in jail. Oh, us, us, us. We're going to get him. Us in jail. He's corrupt. He's a Soviet spy. He's all this shit, right? Where is that? So now, the thing I thought was interesting about this is it's no longer put Donald Trump in jail. It's hold him civilly liable. You're going to see that for fucking 10 months, right up until the election, right? So you had to sort of move it off of what it was standing on. What it was standing on was corruption and criminal penalties and life in jail for fucking Donald Trump, right? Now it's he's corrupt. Oh, we're gonna bring him in jail. He's gonna pay a civil. So by the time you get over it, you're gonna be like, what happened to Donald? Excuse me, what happened to Donald Trump? The narrative is gonna be, we held Donald Trump accountable. We got a judgment against him for, you know what I'm saying? So it still sounds like what you're telling people is, we are gonna land on the moon. And then when it comes around to the date, you're standing on a very tall mound and you're talking shit. And since then, after all the shit you promised, you've then reset and talked it all down. Remember, it's like blowing up a balloon and then what are your expectations here? Why do you not remember? Why am I raging and no one else is beginning? It has become the question because I remember what you said, right? I know what needs to be done and and I generally know why nothing's being done. Nancy Pelosi is worth about $300 million. She's only ever been in Congress. Follow the money screams corruption. Like I said, on any given day, you can arrest a ton of fucking people for corruption, for treason is what I normally say in the Congress. And if you take the money and you don't care like what they want to do with it, like today, yesterday we had talked about the fake Secret Service agents. Want to talk about that? Let's talk about that. The fake Secret Service agent. Fake. There were two of them. They came from a foreign country, throwing money around, trying to make friends with Secret Service agents, and people took them up on it. The Chinese did this, and now everybody knows that you can do it. Everybody's in our open system, right? So as soon as you need something done, and they get anywhere close to being discovered, then go look at the blacks, and America eats that shit up. I really do believe every time something goofy happens here, you can distract the whole society with racism. So all these other people who are homogenized systems, like China, homogenized, everybody's Chinese, like I would say Russia, homogenized, everybody's Slavic, right? Um, Even France, right, homogenized. Only reason Britain isn't homogenized because it's got homogenized because it had the same issue America had. All right, now that we took all these people from these places, what do we do with them? Right? It would have been better if you just said, all right, we're done with the all the slurs you call every group you dealt with. We're just sick of these dirt people or whatever, and then we're not gonna go there anymore. And that says, oh, they suck and they're leaving. Great. We don't have to go there. Versus we're a magnanimous and wonderful group of people. Remind you, remember they tried to get rid of 8 million black people who've been here for 200 years at a minimum. So why do you think it's going to work out? Right? Serious, I mean, serious solutions only, people. Serious solutions. So Donald Trump going to prison is not going to happen. Um, and while all this happens, I'll bet you hard money that if I started a Black Power militant group, I would get funding. And I bet you, I don't think I could have got it funding in the 70s, but I bet you all my funding now would be foreign because they want conflict, right? It's a needed thing. America doesn't want it. They know if America doesn't want it, they should help stand it up. And then they'll obviously want control of it, which instantly makes you a traitor. One, I think taking money from foreign government makes you a traitor. But I get it. Desperate, right? Who helps out the Palestinians? Nobody. Everyone helps out the Ukrainians. Who helps out the African Americans? Nobody. Here's another one. Cartels are on a cop killing spree in one of Mexico's most violent states. That right there is you lost it. You've lost your country when that happens. They're not even trying to do it for reasons that the people in uh, they're not trying to do it for like the same reason, not the same reason, but like for I'm not even going to call it noble. Everyone has the different reasons for making moves on their government like this. Usually they're religious, right? Usually they're uh, Allah doesn't want women to drive, right? This is not that. Usually they're we're both Christians, but I'm this type of Christian. We're both Muslims, but I'm this type of Muslim, right? Why the cartels? It's a leave me alone business. So wow, right? So it is what it is, man. It's what their lot in life is. Our lot in life is slightly different. It's slightly my ass. We're not gonna read it. I just was like, wow. We're gonna get rid of this one too. Donald Trump. Beautiful wedding. All right. But yeah, last wedding I'm gonna be going to. Maybe I should go to one more to leave with a better taste of a wedding in my face. So the Russians dropped a bomb. I want to talk about Will Smith. I mean, the Russians. Let's write that Will Smith because Will Smith got barred from the Oscars for 10 years. What kind of punishment is that? Look, if I'm drunk driving and you bar me from driving for 10 years, that's an actual penance for my social class, right? If my social class gets chauffeur driven limousines everywhere and you catch me drunk driving and you go barred for 10 years, I mean, I was driving fast in my giant sports car because I'm a rich million trillionaire, fuckity fuck sticks, right? But now that you tell me I can't drive, I have a chauffeur and a private jet, right? So the crime doesn't fit the crime. The punishment doesn't fit what was done here. Right? I've always said this. I'm a giant rich real estate magnate and I don't pay taxes and I'm worth $40 billion and you fine me $100,000. I'm like, what? But if I'm a regular guy down here who don't pay taxes and you fine me the same thing, it takes me 20 years to recover. So yeah, I think America really is on the edge of people wiping these people off, or at least trying. Right? I used to be like, that is outrageous, but now I'm like, yeah, I get it. An eye for an eye, I totally get it. You were working hard to this corrupt system let you rot in jail for 20 years or something you didn't do. And yeah, your mom who you loved is dead, and you right? All these kind of out in the world with no one but yourself. What you learn in jail other than to be dark? So why wouldn't you be dark to them? You know what happened? What if they let you out of jail and you showed up on the doorstep of the person who put you there? No guns, no nothing. Just I want to know why you put me in jail. Here come the cops. You're arrested, right? Why you're arrested? The media gets hold of this. They have to quash that story because it's too much of a wow. He did 25, and all he wanted was an answer from the judge or the prosecutor. And meanwhile, they're in the house going, "I'm afraid for myself and my children." And when the cops come out after they toss you, put you on the ground, the media's gonna be like, "Explain your fucking self," right? No, they won't. You think they will, but no, they won't. The media's just as fucking rigged. He'll quietly go back to jail, and someone will have to expose it. It has to be an expose. America is completely, completely, completely corrupt. Stop acting like you didn't know it. All right, so Will Smith. This, let's open this. Let's crack this. Let's open that. Oh my goodness, I am. Oh my God, the gardeners came again and they laid all this stuff. Remember, I was like, what is that smell? I can't figure out what they smell. They smell it. What happened was they tore out all these bushes out here. My house, second floor, bushes in front of me. They ripped out all the bushes. I think because the people below me had windows but couldn't see shit because there were giant bushes. That's why I was like, oh, I'm on the second floor. Uh, so they ripped out all the bushes. I think they're either going to put smaller bushes in, but it is what it is, baby. And now they dumped all this manure and stuff and seeds and blah 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 blah. And that was the smell that was wafting up and then into my windows. And I was going, what is that? Can he be nominated? Oh, I must have cruised past this conversation. Can he who be nominated? For what? Can he be nominated? See, when we move this over properly, man, I'm gonna have to get a more of a faster thing. Maybe one guy I watch his podcast, he's got a phone in, so people call in. And when I did the shows several years ago with Biz Notic, we used to Ted, we used to do call-ins. I'm so fucking weird, is what it is, man. Bored. All right. So I'm having all sorts of trouble with these pedals too, because they sound pedals, man. I should be doing actual shit instead. I'm fucking around with guitars and not trying to lose my mind. Will Smith even be? Oh, right. Will he be? Well, okay. So William Conway uh, brings up a really good point. Can he be nominated again? Will Smith. Let's see. My whole thing is this. Like I said before, he did this in a room full of shaky children, right? By shaky children, I mean everybody who had a bully and right, managed to come out the other side, right? All the cool kids going to sports in the NFL, NBA, right? Go off to college where they don't go to class. I told you that thing is a con and likely um, a criminal enterprise, right? That's one thing I'll talk about all day widely because I don't think they're going to find out one, and if they do, I don't think they're going to sue me. And if they do, I think I got a pretty good chance of going. But this is what they do. You go, okay, let's ask any number of people who went to school on a scholarship for and then went into playing the NFL, who were highly seeded when they went, not like Bob who might be a third string and sit on the bench, right? I think those people will tell you, yeah, so and so never went to class and he wasn't the only one. I think it's a treadmill. They're so comfortable with the corruption that when somebody rolls around and stick their finger in it, it upsets the whole apple cart, right? Um, it's like the conga line of corruption, dun, 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 right? Once you stop the music, the guy dancing with the corruption out the front door, the last guy to get out may have been like, "Ooh, I got all my stuff at least, right?" And you may look to who got away with for like the first few out the door, but after that, the hundreds of thousands of people who made fortunes off of this corrupt game they're in the clear. Uh, Even as he can attend the Oscars, I don't think anyone will be giving Will Smith an opportunity to try, right? This whole thing was about trying to win one. That's what movies are now. They used to be good, and someone go, wow, he did such a great job. I'm gonna, nominate. And some were like epic pieces. Wow, that epic piece about King or Kennedy or whoever, I gotta give that, I'm gonna give this. But now it's like so and so and the Academy has bothered you in your house and told you that he's great and you got to see this movie so he can right. It's not none of, and nothing is. So who's going to give him another shot at that? Uh, Action movies. His action movies have sucked recently. Um, and there's other people. This is the thing. There are other people to entertain yourself with and other things to do in a streaming world. No one needs Will Smith, right? The days of actors going, I don't need to take this. I quit my TV show. It's fast coming to an end. There's a ton of fucking people that you can make famous off of YouTube. Justin Bieber was one. Shawn Mendes is one. Camila Cabello is one. There's a fucking ton of these singers on YouTube, right? Ton of rappers, ton of jugglers and comedians. Even if they don't find someone that they pay $50 million a year, like they were doing to you, they've now got $50 million. They don't have to pay you to experiment on a lot of other people, right? You didn't kill celebrity because one celebrity went away. That's the arrogance of him, right? Um, like that lawyer, right? Big fish, small pond. He was doing all this shit in his tiny little North Carolina town and say he knew everybody, and then you pulled him out of his pond and you put him to have, to see a magistrate, a judge that he doesn't know, that he doesn't golf with, that his dad didn't know, that wasn't at his christening, and all this other shit going back 100 years, and they look upon him differently, let's say. So yeah, I mean, the kingdom is law, and law is just the new plantation. I said on this show before, all the Klansmen, all the real Klansmen, are members of the ABA, the American Bar Association. Here's the thing about this. It's fucking 7:30. When does this shit stop? It starts at 7 in the morning. Oh my gosh. I mean, there's a way to work, man. There's a way to work, right? You have to do your assignment, yeah, but there's a way to do it, how to do it, and when to do it. Not to have people call your boss and go, "What the fuck, man? You're mowing the lawn at 3 in the morning." You know what I mean? Uh, 3 in the morning is a bit of an exaggeration, but 7 a.m. is too long, too early, and fucking 7:30 at night because the sun is up is too late. Uh so I don't think Will Smith. Back to our topic. I don't think Will Smith can attend. I don't think he will be invited to attend. I think his wife is. Look, can we talk about men and women for a second? Let's wander into men and women. Do we have any women in chat? People don't say a lot in my chat. I check the numbers. Generally, nightly, I'm still averaging what I used to average, which is roughly about 10 or 15 people. They pop in and pop out. That's fine. I've had people who average hundreds of people a night, but they were a lot more. They were argument driven, and I don't argue. I just say my shit and move on. And I could very well be wrong. But I say it and move on. So Will Smith, let's wrap that topic up real quick. So Will Smith, unlikely he'll be invited to any of these things anymore, right? I think what's going to happen is, look, Chris Rock said, I don't want to file any charges. Let this shit go. Okay. I think behind the scenes, their people was like, yo, uh, because they've I don't know. Okay, I was about to say they know each other. I don't know if they know each other. I know that they're acquainted. I don't know if they're friends, but I would assume that they would be friends because elite Hollywood is a small circle. So you probably know all the other famous black people. If you're Latino or Asian, you probably know all the famous other famous Latino and Asian people, right? You probably well, the black community is a much bigger community because we've been here long, we've done more shit, and quite frankly, the history we are. Stop saying we are, Sean. We are uh, woven into the fabric, right? The blood and the bone of the country. Before any of these other groups got here, we were here doing the work, dying for it, and writing our story, right? Long before the country was a country. We are what a lot of the people in the country think uh, they had the right in their sacred documents about us, right? So we're I hate to say we're a special class of people. We're slightly on a different tier than a lot of people who come and then set up like acting guilds or whatever the guild they're going to set up. So I would think that one of three things is going to happen. Um, he either already has he Will Smith either already has reached out to Chris Rock. You know, it doesn't have to be in the news. Maybe it's a phone call. Man, I'm sorry, that kind of thing. Um, but then Chris Rock would tell his big mouth brother, who's more like a sister, and he gossips, right? So it would have gotten out. Likely, what is going on is his lawyers is like more likely talking to Chris Rock's lawyers because that still has to be addressed. One, it's one thing I'm not going to take the. I mean, it's a slap, right? People tell you, well, it's looked bad and blah, 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 but at the end of the day, it was just a slap. What? God damn it, you fuck sticks! Oh, they're trying to. It's these guys. So it looks like right, his lawyers and Chris Rock's lawyers will sort of get together and try and bury this in a way that Chris feels good about. And I think the only way you can do that is with money because America worships money and nothing else. All these religions here are just bullshit religions. There, I said it. They're all about making money. Um, and a lot of these people, it's about assuaging their whatever, buying salvation, let's call it. Because none of these churches do any church shit anymore. You notice that? Uh, but yeah, so he'll likely try and give him money. Because here's the thing, if Chris Rock sues, we all saw it, right? It's it's not, well, Your Honor, it was just a smack. And, you know, if this was the third, I suggest we give my client, $500 and just keep this thing, unless everybody will go on with their lives. No. It's going to be like, Your Honor, the world saw this arrogant, ridiculous display of bullying, right? And once that narrative takes hold and everybody who saw it is like, what the fuck, right? The jury will come back and go, we find for the public action against Mr. Smith that, yeah, it was a smack and so, but $50,000 for the smack because he's got money. $50,000 no money to these people. They have like $700 million. But for the pain and hurt and emotional damage, we think that Chris Rock should get $175 million. That's what he doesn't want, right? Validation, verification of assholedom through the courts and the public. And some idiot judge will knock it down, or maybe not. You're not connected. You're a fucking pisshead actor. 75 million it is. And on top of that, I put on the so and so like 5,000 for public so and so, and then pay. We also say pay all the court costs, which I mean, you and me, it's different. If you make 30 grand and then you got to pay somebody 100 grand, and their lawyers' billable hours are $15,000 a minute or what the fuck it is, and then another of these nonsense decisions just pile. So now you're like, I make 30 grand a year. I have to pay rich people $7 million. My whole thing has always been, I'm gonna spend my last paycheck that you're not garnishing to buy an AR-15, and you're gonna see me again. Once that philosophy takes over, that shit stops happening. It really does. It stops happening because at that point you're poking the bear. You've hit a new threshold where the population is not going to let you do that. So and you're going to have to change it. Right? New threshold. You can't gun down people in the street with your shotgun because they're black and you think they did something. Right? That threshold was in the 70s. Got to notice when these things slide. Right? The new thing is up. We're not hanging black people anymore. We're buying out their movement, and that's what they've been doing since the '80s, buying out the civil rights movement. Tactically smart. You're gonna get way more dead babies though. True's gonna be one of those get off my lawn guys, dude. If you can see my group chat, every time I'm perpetually typing that in the group chat. Get off my lawn. That might be my slogan. Man, get off my lawn with that. Yeah, get off my lawn. It doesn't make it. Yeah, the Chris. So let's wrap up the Will Smith thing while it's still fresh in my head. So Will Smith will likely give a ton of cake, a ton of money, um, to Chris Rock under what is it? No, not no closer. No, don't talk. No non-disclosure agreement, which I think should be against the fucking law. I'm essentially bribing you to buy your silence. If you're giving me money to make this thing go away, it's still my life, and I get to talk about it. Even if I lose, I'd rather talk about it on the stand so everybody can hear what you did. Right? They rigged this system so hard against the average working Joe. And then they slathered you with the idea of everybody's lawsuit crazy and all they want is to, right? But it's never they were actually aggrieved. Everybody's just a bullshit. You're just money grubbing. Here, you want some money? That's what it is. Get a real job. You fucking leave these. Meanwhile, you're like, like that coffee thing. Meanwhile, you look at the coffee thing, you find out what actually happened was not what the media and the PR fucking people and the news said, right? Lava hot coffee. Coffee too hot to drink. You gotta wait. You have to have the coffee cool for 5 minutes before you can even come near it. Why are you making coffee at like 225? I think it was 225 degrees, right? Boiling at Celsius is zero, and at Fahrenheit is 32. I'm sorry, freezing is 32, right? So boiling is 90. Ooh, what is boiling? Fahrenheit. I want to say it's 120. What is boiling Fahrenheit? Yeah, I've always spelled Fahrenheit wrong. Faren Faren HEIT. Is it? We're gonna get. I thought EIT, right? Yeah, I'm not. I'm right. Okay. Okay, Fahrenheit temperature scale. Scale base 32 freezing point. Okay. 212 for the boiling point of water. 212. Really? I thought it was what am I thinking about? I'm thinking about 110, which is the hottest you could fry an egg on a road. So, yeah. All right. All right. So, boiling is 212. Maybe that's why we never see boiling liquid in our regular environment. That makes sense. You rarely see an egg on the sidewalk percolating, and you'll never see boiling water. And when you do, it'll be the last thing you see. Because let's remember, boys and girls, we are mostly water. um, 212 degrees, and they said it was 220. Do we even want to look that up? The McDonald's? No, we're going down the rabbit holes here. Um, but I was right about boiling, the temperature freeze, right? All right, so that's good. Uh, so Will Smith won't. He likely won't get the chance to be in one of those big budget movies. Now to rebuild his career, I think he'll be doing a lot of touchy feely soul search things. But then he'll show up a lot more comedy and not comedy, but like a lot more because he smacked the comedian. Um, a lot more not comedy, like low key, sort of lighter is a better word. Sort of like shows where people are not going to ask him hardcore questions like that. He's going to get all those out of the way. He's still a super celebrity that if you invite him to your ball game or your kids' hockey team or whatever, people are going to show up to see him because they believe he's the biggest thing going on in this podunk town since that guy married the elephant or whatever the fuck. Um, so he'll be doing some shit like that, and it won't be so. Will Smith will be at your local carnival or fair or anything like that. But it'll be like some people get so big they don't do talk shows. Like uh or they only do them when they have a project, right? A lot of people are doing them just to keep their name out. Um, yeah, he'll be on Oprah. He'll do Oprah or he'll do uh who's Oprah's good girlfriend? Gail King, right? And I said in 10 days, we're at the eighth day mark, and I think I said this around when was the Oscars? Last Sunday? Was it last Sunday? It had to have been a week. It wasn't last week's Sunday, was it? Good lord. The time sync of how fast shit moves sometimes. Um when was the Oscars?
94th Academy Awards was on Sunday, March 27th.
It was only Sunday. That can't be right. It was only Sunday. Ah, I could have sworn I talked about this a lot more than just Sunday. It couldn't have been just Sunday. They said they were going to talk the 18th. They moved it up to the day. Mind you, the 18th is still a week and like it's still 10 days away. The 18th would have been from their original date would have been 2 weeks and 2 weeks and a day. And in the internet moving world, that's essentially 10 years too late. Uh, okay. Yeah, he'll do Oprah. He'll sorry, 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 love, love, love. Then you'll see him likely in not some schlucky comedies, but he'll do like a comedy his next movie, something fun and light to get you back on. Hey, Will Smith back. I really like that movie versus a drama, because the drama means oh he did a really good job, but no one's gonna nominate him. And getting not getting nominated. Wait, was it March 27th? Was it March 27th? I would hope so. Let's look it up. Cause last week strikes me as that's right, it doesn't make sense because I was at a no, I was at a wedding Saturday. Um wow, how fried am I that I don't remember? March 27th at 8 p.m. Oh my goodness. Yeah, okay. So it was 2 weeks ago. Good Lord. I mean, even though that's 7 days further back, it feels like March was a million years ago. Ah. Oh. All right, boys and girls, listen up. This is slightly off note from a time traveler. Remember your time sinks, all right? You have to peg yourself into a time and space in the grand and ever flowing multiverse and remember where you were. So you peg these things like, boom, this is my birthday of this day in this year. And then you can spread out from there. I somehow lost my thread. I know when my birthday is in this timeline, but I have to have closer dates. And I had one last Sunday. It was a wedding, and I somehow didn't properly anchor the day before that. So when was the last anchor I had before the wedding? What did I do? It was trivial bullshit. It was going to the Wheat Festival twice in a week. But you don't put that on the calendar. So you don't stick it into a time on your temporal wall, your temporal bulletin board. What was the last time? Yup. It was an argument with my sister, my little sister Fee. And I didn't pin that into anything, but that's what's been bothering my head for like, all right, that's amazing. All right, but that I didn't peg that. I was just that's an emotional mark. That's not what is in my temporal marker. I think it's these shows. Yeah, you know what? I might have to reset to. I can't reset the factory settings because factory settings that wipes your whole hard drive. You gotta learn everything else all over again, from speech to walking to wipe your own butt. Yeah, so no factory resets, people. We've seen people in the hospitals who rack factory resets through car accidents and motorcycle accidents and slip and falls. Factory resets are always bad, and you never get an upgrade. You always like download an upgrade where your memory is better, or you paint, or you know a language. Never get that upgrade. I don't even know what's going on. All right, but you're right. Factory resets. What is my last memorable marker? This happens too. Um, if you retire, you need markers. You really do. Or all your days will blur together, and it will make you crazy. Oh my goodness. So yeah, let's close this. It was 2 weeks ago, and what he gets is banned from the Oscars. First of all, let's go through this. Why are we still on this? Let's go through this. First off, the idea that you have a right to go to the Oscars is sort of bullshit to begin with, right? And it's a 10 year. So what? 2032. Hey, okay, how about this? This sort of makes sense in considering that the people who got banned for sexual ridiculousness, right? This is not that bad, so maybe he doesn't deserve a banishment. But I would have said an indefinite suspension to last no longer than 10 years. That way, it could have been like, ooh, is it this year? Ooh, is it that year? Maybe, 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 right? But at the end of the day, what he's going to do is he's going to sit out here and still make money, still hang out, still produce shit, movers and shakers, right? So now maybe the stuff he produces, he can't get a nomination for, but his production company isn't Will Smith, right? So I don't know. I just think it's bullshit. It's yeah, like the rapists get kicked out, but again, not my group. I'm not part of their deal. But if I was, and I was around, and you kicked out Bill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein, um, Roman Polanski, and someone else. Meanwhile, Woody Allen is still there. Just saying, all for sexual ridiculousness. How often do people hit each other in Hollywood? I'm just thinking that that would be fairly fairly more regular than you think, right? Violence is way more like you'll people get arrested more for punching other people than will be arrested for raping other people, right? You'll punch a guy at the bus stop, and then the cops will come. So I'm thinking, I just think that the arrogance of this thing is doing this shit at work, right? Versus out in the parking lot when you're both off work. You do that work, you're fired. You can't come back. No one in that place trusts you anymore. This is the situation he had. So I think they give him essentially 10 years to get his shit together and politic with the Hollywood people, right? You can still stay in our circle, Will Smith, because we really like you. Your wife goes around, she blows everybody, she's awesome. We really hate to see you go back to Philly, right? Or your giant house and wherever the fuck it is and nobody visits you. So get your shit together. Because we need our black contingent of whoever likes you and Jay-Z and all these other people. I mean, they all make money, but it all goes to the same place. You realize this, right? Hollywood is a money sink for your errant dollar. I'm bored. My boss is an asshole. Let's go to the movies. It's hot as back in the days when not very many people had air conditioning. People go to the movie theaters for air conditioning, right? Um, so what if he shows up? He already wouldn't leave, right? What if? I guess he can't be anybody's guest. It's bullshit. It's so bullshit. I can't wait to see. I'm sure it's happening now. I'm gonna tie my Twitter to this. Yeah, you know what? I'm not even gonna. Every time I set a date, I miss it. If I just did it, I would be on. All right. Oh boy. Jada tweets, we got banned. We got banned from the Oscars for 10 years. Dude, let me just say this to all you young men, all right? And I'm just coming from a wedding. Pick a good partner, right? Someone who bigs you up and who you can big up. And then the both of you take life on, kick it in the balls, build that empire, right? Don't get somebody who causes you more problems than fucking necessary under this grandstanding I'm a girl bullshit in a place that punishes you for getting married, quite frankly, as a man. I was talking to my friend who's a lawyer, and I was like, "What's all these divorces?" And she was like, "The majority of them is no fault. We just stopped liking each other. I just nobody. You don't even need the other persons. I'm just done them out. You're divorced now. I am. What happened? I am. I got married in front of all these fucking people. It cost me $40,000. Now I can be divorced on a man. This society is goofy. And if you're gonna be in it, you shouldn't be stupid. But if you're gonna be fucking stupid, don't say you weren't warned. Because I'm warning you. You know, pick better, pick wiser. What's the divorce rate? That you haven't heard it anymore because I think it's well below. I remember I was like, geez, man, half the divorces. I thought it was bad when they were like 2 and 5, and I was like, oh, that's not good, right? 40 fucking percent. Um, it's higher than that. Thanks to the Kardashians, they've told all women why be married when you can have somebody else and his cash. And all women buy this like they're all Hollywood people. This is good for Hollywood people. Divorce, stat, right? Not for regular people. Just like all that running around with all these people. That's not for everybody. Um, what's the divorce rate in 2021? 50%. The sixth highest divorce rate in the world. Subsequent marriages have even lower divorce rates, 60%. 60% of second marriages end in divorce, and 73% of third marriages end in divorce. What are you doing? So if you get married once, you got a 50-50 shot that's not going to work out. You have hope, you get married twice, you got a 73% chance that it's not going to work out. Save your fucking money, follow your dream, start that business, go on around the Sea World cruises, have a little more liberal policy on sex if that's the case, then go to Vegas and pay for it, which is a little more, you'll be paying less for it there than for the rest of your life. I think women have ruined a good thing. I really do. Um, I think they've just the women's movement, not you, lady in particular, managed to build an apparatus against all the men, right? So I was for you, but I'm who you're marching against. Okay, how can I be for you then? The women's movement needed male allies, and now they've turned on their male allies, which means it's going to be the women against the men. And when it comes down to it, you're going to lose. You need male allies. It's like the civil rights movement. Black people needed white allies. We can't be in all these rooms, and we were banned from these rooms. And you had to have someone in this room go, "I don't like what they're doing to people. Did you hear what they're doing in the South to women? That's horrible. I thought they were Christian, right?" And I was, "It's not my fault." Yeah, but still, if you're and right and talk to people that they can be talked to on their own terms. Doesn't matter. You're a Christian. I'm a Christian. What are you doing there? Well, I guess you're right. You shouldn't be doing that to people, right? I would do that to a dog. Why would you? Yeah, I guess you're right. And all of a sudden, he calls home and he's thinking about it. And in 6 months, it's moderated his tone on the slavery issue of the 1840s, right? I'm talking antebellum South now, before the Civil War, right? The 1830s, 1840s, 1820s. So by the time you got to 1860s and the Civil War kicked off, you had enough white people who were like, "This is bullshit," versus going, "Nah, I don't give a fuck." This is the problem that the women are making with their movement. You want to hate all the men? Okay. I want to see how this looks for you in about 10 years. Um, because I really do think this is gonna come down to shooting. I said it before. And don't think that the men will be shooting at each other while you have a thriving feminist movement or gay movement, right? All those movements are subsequent movements to a more powerful movement, which is the civil rights movement, you idiots. I'm not calling you people idiots, I'm just goofy. I mean, the logic of it is goofy to me. Do we want to talk about Katanji? I'm gonna get a T-shirt. I'm gonna start selling them. I'm gonna get a Teespring, and I'm just gonna call it Katanji will fix it. Cause like I said, this is good for her, her family, her political connections. whoever she knows, right? One of the 10 best jobs in the country. Let's start the timer for when the next police shoot somebody and how they cover it up and see if anything is done about it. Nothing. Oh, you know, we're going to put an Asian on. Oh, and a this on, and a that on. Okay, you want to talk about something? Apparently, all these corporations got super duper rich during this pandemic while they said we had to raise prices because we don't have anything. Record profits while the population. Shut the. Ugh. I have to watch the shit I say. But I'm telling you, I openly want to threaten them right now. Let's look at it. Uh, let's call it pandemic profits. See what we get. All right. Oh, good Lord, man. My typing is horrendous. Post pandemic profits, the state of Minnesota's public companies 2 years into COVID. After bottoming out early in the pandemic, U.S. car dealers' profits are soaring. Pandemic profit, top U.S. health insurers make billions. Everybody's getting rich. Hey, what's up, nonsensical? Good to see you in the chat. So all these, but you can't have a union. You can't get fuck not even more money. Bathroom time. They don't pissing in bottles. I'm telling you, when you give up, I don't get shooting sprees. I don't get showing up at your workplace hating. I get hating your boss, but I hate to say it, but if I hate you, I get shooting you, right? But I don't then get shooting the secretary and the water guy and the right. Aggression and anger is a thing in the human animal. To say you don't ever feel that way is bullshit. So I get, yeah, I hate this guy. It's bullying. If you ever had a bully, you'll get why people hate bullies, right? Will Smith, right? I get why people hate bullies. Um, Sometimes people react to their bullies, right? There are no 100% in nature. You can't bully 100% of the time and not have any of those people do anything back to you. One of my favorite bully revenge stories, and I know people are like, is that a bully revenge story? Is the guy who knocked on the door of his childhood bully. Guy opens the door, blows him away. Stood there waiting for the cops. Told the cops, I never had a good life because of this guy. What he did to me in high school. And they went back and then he did something to him. Do we even want to look up the story? In the 50s. And he went through his life thinking about it, could not get away from it. It's a mental fucking torture. And then one day he came to this decision that I'd rather do this than to live. I'd rather be rid of this. I'd rather, what is it? Than to, I'd rather be in jail and not have this on me than to live free outside in the world with this weight around my neck. And of course, his family was like, he was a good man, and this guy's an asshole. He should have put all that shit behind him. And I was like, I feel you. I'm sure you knew a totally different person. I'm sure you loved him, infinitely and fully and completely. But that's not other people's recollection of this piece of shit. I would like to remind, I'm sorry, I call him a piece of shit. Because I have seen bullies. I have no truck for people who do shit like this. Because you wear it, and then you may go and do it to somebody else, right? So, but yeah, he's in jail because no one's got fucking sympathy for that. Here's the thing: don't take the don't take the law into your own hands. And this is what any judge will always, because this is their purview. They're protecting their home plate. You can be the right. This guy, he raped my daughters and he killed and ate my wife for dinner, and he took pictures of me. He was horrible, and I found him and I killed him. You think somebody will go, okay, no, we're not filing any charges. You're going to get charges filed against you. And the people are going to be like, what is that about? I think you're going to be found not guilty. But the idea of it is none of that. No more of that. There was a ton of that before, right? But no more of that. We're at the age beyond that. Like, we're at the age beyond driving up in your pickup truck and gunning people down with shotguns, right? No more of that. Uh, yeah, they made a ton of money, these corporations, by boxing you out. Stupid Americans. Ha ha ha. right? And then what's gonna happen? Like I used to tell the other cops when they were doing dumb shit, they fucking outnumber you. The project has 50,000 people in it. How many cops can you call if they finally go, you know what, fuck this, and then the media can call it a riot all they want. But what you right, and then it's them warring with the neighborhood, quite frankly, and the cops standing off. It's never a but if they ran out there and ran specifically at you, the police cars, police uniforms, police precincts. I know where does the mayor live? And his police, right? All of a sudden, people are like, oh wait, well, they seem fucking looking to get people, right? So now all those fake civil rights people that no one believes in, you have to call on the phone to have them come and do something. And I think that's where we're going. I think that's where we're going. I've always said, why don't you just fix it? You know what the issues are? I think they're easy to fix. Just fix it. No, I'm gonna get fuck those people. We're gonna give $18 billion to Ukraine just to piss off Russia. Okay. All right. America doesn't make any sense with what's going on here, and I want to remind you, America is the fucking politicians who run it. If it's anything, stop acting like America's this pie in the sky idea. It's corrupt politicians who say and do shit for money, who have no moral and aren't stupid enough to keep their gravy train running. I really do think your the first blow by your bow or pitch past your nose to get you off the plate was January 6th. Right? Actually, not even the first. That was your first foul tip. Uh, right? But I mean, people have been marching and protesting and unhappy with the system for a while now. For a while now. With no address. No, not no address. With no redress. Right? You did not address their problems. Uh, yeah, they should fix it. Nancy Pelosi is a corrupt freaking witch. I don't care what anybody says. Um, and like I said before, I don't think anybody cares that you do well. But you got to make sure that the people who put you there do well. Everybody's suffering, but you're still doing well, and then you're grifting on top of it, and then you won't stop the grift from of others. Yeah, I don't know. You got to fix that, right? And your whole thing of when something goes bad, you go, "Oh, the blacks are doing this," right? Are they moving in your neighborhood? Right? Crime is up. Oh my goodness. A lot of people aren't falling for that anymore. And while all that goes on, there's gun talk to de-arm the population, which I think is really funny. You can't silence the population. It's in the Constitution. You can't de-arm the population. It's in the Constitution. So you're in this fuck show of trying to make this a European country when nobody wants it to be a European country, right? By European country, I generally mean this idea that there's a ruling class here that stays there, right? Like Queen Beatrix, right? This lord is always a lord. This prince is always a prince. He can travel around the world with prince immunity and do whatever, right? People don't want that. And we keep having these freaking uber classes who just buy our system, bought outright in a land of guns. I think the only reason they exist is out of the kindness of the civilization, of the civilians, rather, who are here. I think people really do believe they got it shot. And I think once they don't, I think you'll see what all the money that these people have in foreign accounts. First of all, why are you a government official in America with a foreign bank account? The amount of shit that they write in the law that they can do, they might as well just write a law that they can give all this money and shit to foreign countries, and it's not treason or traitorism. Traitorism? And then they do. They just arrogantly, the Senate acts like it runs the place and not the president. So yeah, this whole place is upside down. We will see, boys and girls. We will see. Before we get out of here, we talked about Donald Trump not going to jail, so they're going to try and get a jury, and I just proves that I'm right. Do we even want to look at some of these? I really, John Diamond. I wanted to. Do we want to check out some of these Twitter? Uh, I'm kind of. I don't. Oh my God! Am I going to start doing celebrity news? I would not be good at that because I'm. It's all gonna be okay. Let's tell you why this guy sucks. Let's see what he's up to. Let's tell you why this girl's an idiot. Let's see what she's up to. It'll just it'll just make me look. I'm not trying to be worse online. I'm trying to be better. It's bad enough that you know what I am. Look, I'm going to toot my own horn here. I'm gonna tell you my good points and my bad points. I'm intelligent. I'm witty. I'm clever. But I also have all those negatives, right? I'm arrogant about the shit that I know. I'm witty, but I'm snarky on the other side of that. Uh, what was the other one? Right? What was the other one? Right? Wit and wisdom. When you do them well, they sort of go hand in hand, right? Being being witty, you have to know a lot of stuff, right? To make puns on smart things. Um, the problem with that is a sense of humor is tied to you and the environment you got it from, right? Your sense of humor doesn't move. By that I mean, if I learned to be funny in the '70s and '80s, I can read people. I know what's funny, right? People change, right? So the millennials are not like their parents. So my sense of humor with people my age, I notice this. People my age, my brothers and sisters, people who know me, uh, they get it. My nieces and nephews who grew up around me, they know my way. They kind of get it. My other than nieces and nephews who are about 25, they think I'm corny. I'm just an old guy cracking corny jokes to them, right? Takes me back to when I was about 23, 24, 19, whatever. I had corny jokes told to me by my uncles, right? My uncle Julius, my uncle Sonny, right? You just kind of like, right? And they all think it's hysterical. They're having a beer, right? Different timbre of men. So I'm like, oh, okay. Because I was like, maybe my sense of humor is it? And I'm like, nah, what it is I've aged out in my sense of humor. My sense of humor is a bomb, it's an explosion from boom, right? And then slowly goes down, and all the people that you once affected with funny is not. And you will eventually get to a place where your jokes are not funny at all, right? I don't know if they'll be offensive because the environment changed, right? And I'm not an offensive person. But if I said, who could I offend? Let's say, uh, the gays. Let's offend the gays. If I said, like, I grew up with using sissy, and now you can't use that word, right? But it was everywhere, and you learn older. Oh, we we're not don't use that word. Just like when I grew up, no Spanish people use the word nigger. Now there's all these Spanish people rapping about it. I'm like, how come they are not? What's going on here? How come they are not right? They're not black. They're not white. How are they getting away with this shit? Um, right. So, you know what? Let's not offend the gays. Let's offend the blacks. Um, if I said now, at sense of humor wise, actually, we wouldn't have to offend anybody. The word nigger is proves my point, right? People yell it out loud now. It's a thing that everybody hears. The last time you heard, not the last time, but the most relevant time you heard that word yelled out, it was about a whole bunch of people hanging somebody, right? The context is totally different now, and it's weird. And all the racists want to use it. They're mad that they can't. The black people want to use it, but the black people who happily use it, I don't really approve of because I mean, come on, seriously. So all this started from the death of my sense of humor. But yeah, you know, the ebb and flow of time is a thing, and you may not notice it, but it ebbs by uh millionth of a second as it goes on, cha 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 cha, and has been doing so. Now I know there are those who will say that time is a construct, and to those people I say shut up. Uh, Otherwise, it's always now. Then how would I say what happened yesterday if it's always now? And now is a construct. So shut up. Because I can't talk about now constructs when I'm trying to talk about history if now doesn't exist. But now exists, but history doesn't. It's the amount, it's the kind of thought exercises that you should take with your friends over beer, right? It's like the idea I thought was really interesting on on what's the name of that show? Adult Swim. It's a cartoon show for adults. It comes on like 11:30 at night. And there was a cartoon segment of a guy kissing his clone, like making out with his clone. And somebody looks and goes, ew. And he says, one of the clones says, right, because one's sitting on one's lap as they're kissing and hug each other. And the one who's sitting on his lap says, it's not gay, it's masturbation. First of all, I laughed for like 20 minutes, and then I started thinking of the because when I went to college, I loved philosophy, thinking about wild and interesting ideas. But I was like, how are you going to make money off of this, right? So the idea that snaps your fingers and there's a duplicate you standing right next to you. That person knows exactly what you like. That person has the same likes and dislikes and blah 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 blah. Right? Let's say it's not this opposite clone of you where you look alike but you hate each other. Right? You like each other. You are now your own best friend. Is that you only talking to yourself? Is that crazy? Right? There's a person there. Now you making out with yourself. Is that gay? How can it be gay? It's you. Right? All these kind of weird kind of questions can only come from like the American kind of sensibility because the American, even if you don't do some grand great thing, you write like goofy stupid stories or start a business. This is kind of like the loose weird thinking that you can't get in like North Korea or South Korea because it will lead to your firing squad, right? So all this ability to think wildly um, doesn't always put you on the moon, right? But just the idea of being able to just go, because we talked about it a million years ago in a bar, and it was a good conversation. It was like, no, you're kissing another dude is gay, and we're like, it's not another dude, it's you, and you masturbate. Is that gay? Right? So it went on, and it was fucking funny. Too. I wish some of the conversations I recorded, I really wish I would have taped. But man, just drunks in a bar talking shit is always. I'm about to take the shirt off. Is always just good for a nickel. Chew arm on the red carpet. Yeah. All right. Where am I gonna put this? Let's put that over there. Fold that up nicely. Um. Okay. 8:10. So we've been streaming for a minute. Uh. Before we go, we're not gonna read the Will Smith tweets because we are gonna read about the fake Secret Service agents, which I think is a threat to all of us, right? Fake secret, and they didn't just target some Secret Service agents working in your city. There's a Secret Service district. I don't know. Well, I forgot what they call them in every state and in I think every territory. They're like FBI headquarters. No, FBI headquarters in Washington. They're FBI bureaus, right? Uh these guys targeted guys working for like White House individuals. So they weren't fucking around with like, hey, I like you guys. You guys are cops. Let's hang out. They were like, hey, I like you guys who are cops because you're guarding the police commissioner or you're guarding, you know what I mean? Hey, I like teachers. No, 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 no. I like these teachers who are making this policy for the school board. Pakistan, you want to fuck around? This is what happens when you have an open society. And when you find these guys in your open society, you don't close your society, but you deal darkly with them and their country. The fuckery of this is a threat to all of us. All right, so let's get into one of these. Which one are we going to read? The New York Times, 2 men posing as federal agents duped Secret Service, the U.S. says, right? I don't think we're going to be able to read that. We might be able to read that. I think I get 10 free reads. White House Secret Service personnel compromised. What was their point? What were they? Pakistan. What was their end goal here? Some people do it for intellectual properties, which will cost you trillions. That's how China and Russia got in our system by these fucking lazy fucktards who don't guard our gates. And when you go, you people are bad, the first thing they go is, we can manipulate the at home inner turmoil to stay here. The racists keep bad people in power. If you got rid of every racist, you wouldn't have this. They can always be leaned on to keep people in power. It's like keeping a drug addict, you know, in charge of something. So you go back and go, I can get you more drugs. And they'll go, yeah, you get to be president for more years or senator or this or that, the other thing. Fake DHS agent allegedly poses with Bradley Cooper and Seth Meyer. Two-minute impersonate friend. And here's the thing. We're going to read this. They came here with a lot of money. So they weren't two obviously rich guys just here in America liking the cops. They came from a foreign place with a lot of money. They were obviously foreign agents. Let's see if we can read one of these two. Let's read NPR. All right. Let's make this bigger. This will be the last one we read, and then we will be on our way. Come on, seriously. Yeah, we're not even going to complain about this rich streamer anymore. We're just going to move on. The affidavit to support the arrest of Aryan Taharazada and Haider Ali say the two men were posing as federal agents, giving free apartments and other free apartments. How do you give somebody a free apartment? Free apartments and other gifts to U.S. Secret Service agents, including one who worked on the First Lady's security detail. Two men in Washington, D.C., who were allegedly pretending to be special agents with the Department of Homeland Security have been arrested and charged with falsely impersonating a federal officer. Aryan Taherzadeh and Haider Ali have been impersonating federal agents since February of 2020. That's 2 years, 2.5 years. According to an FBI affidavit, have been able to get close with several Secret Service agents assigned to the White House and one with the First Lady's protective detail by offering favors. So there are several ways you can do this. You can honeypot it. To honeypot it, you need sex, right? So it works on guys, but it works on women too, right? You bring a handsome guy with a swinging dick who can bang for 5 hours, right? Yeah, and it's proof that it's happened before, right? It's the famous poet, and mind you, England, all those people during the war, they all spied on us. And may very well still be doing it. What is his name? He wrote that giant book, The Big Giant. He wrote James and the Giant Peach. That guy, he was a honeypotter. A honeypotter. He was banging like women senators and not senators back then, but congresswomen back then, and getting information. Yeah. And this is what they do. The government tells you about this 50 years after instead of arresting people. So in 50 years, they'll declassify how corrupt all this shit is and why your kid had to die in a war for it. Don't even get me fucking started. I should run for office just to talk like this on a dais and embarrass these people. It's one of my fantasies, but let's be clear, I'm not fucking running for shit. I do not want to be on a dais for anybody. And me saying this to you is different from saying it to 300 million people on a fucking nightly TV show. It really is. But I really do wish somebody would get up there and do it. Just like I wish somebody would be able to breach space and go to Andromeda and let us know what's out there. I don't want to do it. But I want to big you up when you do it. When you do it. When you do it. Aryan Taherzadeh and Haider Ali have been impersonating federal agents since February 2020. According to an FBI affidavit, and have been able to get close to several Secret Service agents assigned to the White House and one to the First Lady's protective detail. Taherzadeh allegedly, how you give somebody a rent-free apartment? I think they would. Well, you didn't. Did you give it to him? Did you let him use it? Here's the keys. Use as much as you want. Why does a federal agent have have money like that. You're still a federal employee. Why do you have access to an apartment? If I was a Secret Service agent and you said you work for Department of Homeland Security, I would assume, oh, that's a Homeland Security building, and maybe I would use it, but I wouldn't do anything in it because I'm assuming that it's wired, right? When I was a housing cop, I had a master key. I would go to the empty apartments between like tenants, and you could sit there quietly in there out of the rain where your boss didn't know where you were. And it was always fun to walk in there. People leave shit. You could sit in a chair. Sometimes they leave the TV, right? They were thrown out or whatever. Sometimes it was completely empty. Sometimes you walk in there mid renovation, right? But no one is giving me that apartment. So if they're letting you use it, why are you using it? Are you sneaking over there with your girlfriend? Because then you're likely on tape if it is a federal building. But since these guys weren't feds, if you're using it, it was probably wired for sound by the Pakistanis. Let's check the chat. Good evening, liberal. Hey, Jay the realtor. Good evening, liberal. I love that. Uh, oh my God, that's so good. That's such a greeting. So I mean, so they give these guys, and that's the end, right? You go, you test, oh, let me get, and then you go, oh, now we got him. And if I got you taking shit, once I expose you, you look, I gave you all this. If your government found out, that not only did you lose your job, it's 30 years in jail. Look, I'm not asking you for secret documents. I'm just saying, we can forget again. Did I be good? Right? That's how you get. That's how they get you. You got to be strong enough to go, okay, and then walk in behind their back, tell your boss, and they know you are compromised. Tell us who these guys are so we can get them, and then we'll deal with you later. Because that job is gone, and rightfully so. Your judgment is shit. You're guarding the president. I'm pretty sure they told you what to watch out for, and you fell for it anyway. But I don't want to suffer any consequences, right? Isn't that the way American judicial police work at every level? These guys will, those guys will get 2 weeks fine. These guys will go to jail for 400 years. But the guys will get reassigned someplace, driver training, gun training. All right. Uh, the fuckery of what goes on is ridiculous. Um, I mean, and at this level too, Teher, Taher, Teher Zadeh, Zadeh, Teher Zadeh allegedly provided rent-free apartments, iPhones, giving people $1,100 phones, and surveillance systems. He gave them, yeah, a flat screen television and other items to win over Secret Service agents. And one employee of the DHS, he also, who don't like free shit, he also offered what he called official government vehicles and offered to purchase a $2,000 assault rifle for Secret Service agents for the on the First Lady's detail. So he's giving you a free apartment. He's giving you iPhones, plural, more than one. Surveillance systems. Why do you need a private surveillance system? You work for the C. You can go get one from the job. You just liked it, so you wanted one. And some guy, what are you, his girlfriend? He's just giving you all this shit. It doesn't raise your hackles. And he's giving you apartments and cars. What good friend gives you cars? What good friend on a government salary gives you cars? All right. Off to buy your rifle. You don't know what you like that gun? I'll buy that gun for you, cupcake. Mwah, you're adorable. Right? That's not it. Maybe it was admiration. I'll buy that $2,000 gun for you because you're a hero and I'm just proud to be in your presence. Both of those sound like bullshit to me. But the first one sounds more logical since gaydom is a thing and hero worship is not so much, as I hate to be the one to tell you. Um, 4 Secret Service members have been placed on leave. In a statement, the Secret Service said it, quote, has worked and continues to work with law enforcement partners on this ongoing investigation. All personnel involved in this matter are on administrative leave and are restricted from accessing Secret Service facilities, equipment, and systems. That means not only are you look, when the feds fucking put you on administrative leave, you are absolutely on it. You are not allowed to do shit. You're essentially fired till they officially fire you, right? So he is these four are on administrative leave, meaning they can't show up at a building, right? They can't show up to their locker. They can't use any of their equipment, guns, shields, ID tags to get into. Blah, 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 blah. We take all that shit, and you can't log in to see how much time you got in the Secret Service login chat or whatever. And out here in us world, when cops we take your gun and your shield so you don't eat it, don't blow your brains out, and then you just go do whatever. You can come back to the command tomorrow to clean out your locker, or not, put stuff in it, talk to the guys. I've thought about, I don't know. I mean, the feds are a lot more serious because it's a job that everybody wants, so they can be a little more snooty. Look at how long this article is. Oh, this article isn't long at all. It's longer, but not long at all. So let's peruse this one to see if we get any fat meat left out of it. Mary Kramer and Neil Victor. Look at this picture of them in fucking uniforms and buffing out. Yeah, you can buy all this stuff on Amazon. The cop swag, you can buy all that on Amazon. Uh, they at one point it was sort of banned that you can't sell this stuff, and then people sued and was like, you know, freedom of commerce and that, what you use it for, and I'm not the bad guy for selling it. I'm just a businessman, and now you can sell it all again. Now the onus of is on the person using it, right? Which I guess I get. I can sell you a gun, but if you go fucking rob a bank with it, don't come at me saying you shouldn't have sold that dude a gun in a land where guns are legal. Now, should you rein in guns? Yeah, we reined in a lot of shit in the Constitution that people said couldn't be reined in, and this is their bullshit, right? But be wary, adjusting the Constitution, they may adjust it for your freedom of speech. You can say anything you want until we disagree with you, right? And they actually write that in there, then you're really screwed. All right, two men masquerading as Department of Homeland Security officers in Washington, D.C. duped several members of the Secret Service, providing with tens of thousands of dollars in gifts, including rent-free apartment. Federal prosecutor said one of the men told several people that he had connections to Pakistan's main intelligence agency. Prosecutors said in federal court, why would he tell you that? He's a bad spy. All right. 4 men of the Secret Service agents charged with protecting the president and the president's family have been placed on administrative leave. Brr. One of the men, Aryan Taherzadeh, offered to buy a $2,000 assault rifle. This number is big because they know, you and I know that this is a lot of money, right? That's why it keeps showing up here. Whereas the people who own, rich people that you complain about, this is not money at all. It's like saying $2, they wouldn't be bothered by it. They're more concerned with the people next to the president because the president gives them all their free swag. And they like to vet the president. You don't like to have him disappear, and then you have to find someone new, right? $2,000 assault rifle for an agent assigned to Jill Biden's protective detail. Tahzadi 40 and Hader 35 were charged with one count of false impersonation of an officer of the United States, the affidavit said. Both men appeared in a video conference on Thursday hearing in federal court where prosecutors said that Mr. Ali had told witnesses that he had connections to the inter-service intelligence in Pakistan. Mr. Ali also held several visas that had been issued by Pakistan and Iran. They know we're bribable and corrupt. Why don't we know it? Because we, I hate to say it, as a society, are a corrupt society. And we need to fix our shit. Other people can wander in and use us. And just because you see the British doing it with their black actors, right, doesn't mean someone didn't go, we can do a fairly good American accent. Send them into X or do Y. Their borders are completely open. Yeah, and by the way, the black acting contingent from England are all on TV talking about American fucking civil rights like you've got any stake in the game, and talking about it in a way that is watered down and ridiculous. That look, I should do. Don't get me started on the black British people here undercutting American black people in the civil rights movement. I'm just hot with it. But we here in America, the civil rights movement is dead, and it's a giant shit show of who represents us. So why wouldn't you crash out for money? Why wouldn't you? Uh, Mr. Ali had told witnesses that he had connections to the inter-services intelligence in Pakistan. Mr. Ali had several visas that had been issued by Pakistan and Iran. He had several visas. Prosecutors say the FBI arrested the men, both of whom are U.S. citizens, on Wednesday in Southeast Washington. The 2 year scheme began in February 2020, unraveled recently. So here's the thing: you did this for 2 years, not by yourself, like it's your weird hobby, right? You and someone plotted out when you were going to do this. You got together, you plotted, right? And you had connections from a foreign country who gave you foreign country issued multiple fake passports. I wonder how many multiple fake passports the American government will give me if I want to wander around in someone else's country. I'm guessing none, unless they unofficially endorse what I'm doing. The idea of it and how people take it like, oh, it's not that big a deal, I find crazy. Where is my like and subscribe card? Anyway, like and subscribe, people. I really need you to. If you don't like and subscribe, uh, if you don't like and subscribe, the supermodels get really upset, and then they don't. This would have been better if I had a good witty quip, right? I just said I was witty. Uh, all right. 35 and 40, dual citizens, dual. Um, working for yeah. This is why don't you just call this what it is? I think Pakistan has to answer questions. And the question is, we're supposed to have good relationships with Pakistan. Why are they here? What are they doing? Trust me, right now on some phone call, the ambassador of X has called in, has called let's get it straight. Uh, the State Department, who heads the ambassadors, has called the Pakistani ambassador and was like, "What the ever loving fuckness," right? Uh, and then that ambassador likely called in whoever his counterpart is while he's there to have you explain yourself. Meanwhile, and that's the diplomatic channels. Meanwhile, in the non-diplomatic channels, I'm pretty sure the intelligence apparatus are talking to their so-called allies because they give them tech shit and UAVs and drones, and going, "Oh, really? You want to play both sides against the middle? We will fucking end you." We don't know what this was unofficial. We are your allies, America, in this war against because let me tell you, once America goes, fuck it, we don't care. The Al Qaeda, which we pushed back, mind you, it wasn't anybody in the Middle East. We can let them run rampant over Pakistan, right? But Pakistan and India, we don't want this to happen to because they're both nuclear states. Yeah, the guy who stole the nuclear plans gave them to all these third world fucktards for like $1 million a piece. That's how they got them. And the reason that they have the know-how because they were educating the West. Stop doing that. If they were a serious country, they would have colleges, and they don't. Stop sending their special handpick whoever here to get educated while you don't educate the populace. Then send them back there so they can be dictators that we have a problem with, like Bashir al-Assad, who was educated here. Is it me? Tell me in the chat if I'm crazy. All right. Tahzad Tahir Tahir Zadeh and Ali have attempted to use their false fraudulent affiliation with DSS to integrate themselves with the members of the federal law enforcement and the defense community. Mrs. Lyons did not say why the men carried out the impersonation. They declined to give a motive or provide further information about the two men. That's weird. This sounds like they were from Pakistan, and America is now going, this is what you're going to have to do to make this right. So get on your navel and start crawling because you're about to get a lot of fucking shit in your belly button. Mind you, you can be on the outside or you can be on the inside. Like the song says, you can get with this or you can get with that. You can get with this or you can get with that. You can get with this or you can get with that. I think I'll get with this because this is kind of fat. Now, what does that say? That's a rap song lyric. What does it say? You choose, but I think you should choose this one because this one balls completely out of control. The one that balls completely out of control, by the way, is America. Even as I have issues with it. I mean, I'm complaining about being on a rocket ship, and the rocket ship is not doing what I want it to do. But it's not a boat like a lot of these other countries are on, right? Rowing, right? And I think that's a good metaphor. We're like, look, we're a starship. People think China and Russia are starships. I think it's been proven that Russia is not a starship. Russia is more likely a galleon, not a boat, but a nice galleon, like a big ass, like not even a battleship, but like a like a early 19th century galleon. I think the Chinese are a battleship, but I still think that we are completely beyond them, and I think that we can knock Russia over in a weekend. The way from what I've seen in Ukraine, yeah, well, our army is better than theirs, and we can knock them over in a weekend. China is different. I don't like again. We haven't seen China's army and what it does. We've seen them do exactly what the Russians have been doing, marching, showing all the weapons, saluting the not the bandstand. Where they put those people up, saluting the what did they put the famous people? As you walk by, you will turn and you will salute the. It's not the parade ground. It's the anyway. I forget. It'll come to me. Um, we don't know, but I maintain that China has a problem because it has a lot of people who don't want to be under the Communist Party. The Communist Party. It's like the Communist Party is sort of like the Democratic Party, where the Democratic Party is really only for the upper echelons and the elite, and what they need you to do is vote for fear of those other guys to keep them in power so they can keep doing for themselves. Now, the bubble here is no one takes care of the population. And if the Democratic Party, someone else started something else and got leverage, the Democratic Party is a dead fish, right? And it's happened before. It happened with the Whigs, right? George Washington was a Whig. It happened with, I think we had the Tories for a minute here. Um, Now we're Democrats and Democratic Republicans and all this other shit. All right. What was Roosevelt? The Bull Moose Party? I mean, they come and go. All right. Tried to ingrate himself into the defense community. Mr. Rothstein said the investigator had searched 5 apartments and several cars that Mr. Tarzadi and Mr. Ali had used. He said they found equipment and paraphernalia usually associated with law enforcement. Okay. Body armor, gun, right? Including body armor, gas masks, zip ties, handcuffs. Why they had zip ties if they were fake cops? Who the fuck were they zip tying? Handheld radios. Who were they talking to? They were both in the car, right? A drone like the ones used by SWAT teams. Let's look that up because those are not cheap. There are military grade drones that you can buy for like $15,000 that runs on like a lithium battery. And let's say I'm a detective and I'm following you as a private citizen. Instead of having the drones that fly up and hover around and may follow you around and have 45-minute battery and you can bring my battery and have fun, you'll set this shit off. It will peg and follow your car upwards of like a mile and a half, 2 miles up, maybe higher. You don't know it's there, uh, and it can stay over station of you for 24 hours. That's that's a drone you can buy. I looked that up. That was years ago, but it's probably better. 99, 733. Yeah, none of these are the ones I'm talking about. 12, 9. Yeah, nah, these are the ones that I would buy that are nice. What does Brink drones? It's probably yeah. See, if a cop is using it, it's what I'm talking about. So let's go. Okay, let's go SWAT drones. It shows you what the cops would be using. So let's just go to images and get a look at it. Uh, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Let's look. This is what. Oh, good lord! Why'd you put a fucking? You people, I hate all of you. You're all stupid. Um, another super tiny one. I can tell. All right, maybe I can find one here. Like these, yeah, the cops use these too. These sort of wonky, right? But these are the ones I'm talking about. They look like a small jet. Um, they don't have the like drones have uh an X-wing axis on them with a propeller in each one. Some have three. So here's a right. So I'm gonna need this later. Where's a marker so you can actually see this? Perfect. So drones. Let's do it, baby, baby. Drones. Where's my whiteboard back there? Drones have three X positions, right? And it's built on sort of a Y axis, right, where all the components. Can you see this? Right, all the components. Duh. Uh, center, right? Uh, and these are where your fans are, and some are built uh, sort of like with three, right? These are built a little wider, like this. And back here on the top and on the bottom, this little, let's make this red just to make it interesting, um, is a lithium battery, right? So this thing is about, I guess, about as big as a guitar, right? About this long and about as wide, and it'll follow you. They're usually black. The one I saw was black, uh, and up it goes and comes. It kicks back telemetry from a satellite to your device, phone, computer, and it's autonomous. You can wake up and see it's still on station. It just needs to come back for a battery. And if you excuse me, if you get a bigger battery in it, where is this thing? It was not a helicopter, but yeah, drones, man. That's the next phase of war. Everybody killing everybody with uh not man-made with here's one. Here's one right here. Is this Ukraine? Yep. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Right? So they're built, they look like little planes. All the battery components are in the center. It runs down, there's a camera, GPS locator on the top for satellites. There's uh, uh, a positioner, a global positioner, like thing on the bottom, so it knows where it's going over. Uh, and it relays all this back to you. But what they're doing now, I mean, these are the ones that you could buy and follow your girlfriend around. If I was a detective, right? Put a better battery in it, it might be able to follow you for like, a day, 2 days. But they can follow you now for like maybe not a day, but like 16 hours. Um, and what they're doing with some of these is they're putting explosives on them and just flying them in, kamikaze them into tanks and shit. So I said this before, just fix it here in America because the new landscape of war, I think people think we'll just put a whole bunch of cops on there, they'll break heads and people will get back in line. And I think once it breaks this time, it's permanently broken and you will give birth to a permanent insurgency in America because this shit is too easy to kill your enemy. It really is. And the only thing what's not happening is people are making the decision to, right? If you don't want them to make that decision to do that, then you should be fair with the people. And you don't want this to be a tit for tat kind of game of they're never going to be fair, fuck you, right? And then you'll have all kind of mayhem because you can only treat people poorly for so long before technology and will allows them to take a shot at you. Hence September 11th, right? Technology and will was what that was. The fucking arrogance of that. Fort was it? 9 guys killed 3,000 people. Yeah, outrageous. On the upside, I think I still dream about it, but I think I stopped dreaming about it as much as I did. And I think I used to dream about it a lot up until I was doing this podcast. And I think I've mentioned it a couple of times, but I haven't mentioned it in a while because I think the podcast keeps me busy. The podcast has become my therapy for not waking up in the middle of the night. Um, and any sorts of agita. I have nightmares from several issues, not just 9/11. It has not been easy. Um, but only bitches give up. So let's not bitch and be bitches. All right, so let's go. Mr. Terhazadeh told Magistrate Judge G. Michael Harvey in court on Thursday that he had completed some college at Georgetown University. A federal public defender who represented both men said they plan to ask to be released at the hearing on Friday, which was today. Why would you release them? Hold it. How are they? They're American citizens with foreign passports. Are they traitors? Here's the thing about your something that I do not believe in: dual citizenship. Sir, one master. Um, is anybody still in chat? Let me know. Um, so are they traitors or are they spies? You have. It doesn't make any sense that this shit is allowed to happen. I'm so confused by it. I've got too many questions. That's how I know it's bad. So he's got multiple passports from Pakistan and Iran. Are the passports fake? Maybe we did, maybe that's it. And they're American citizens, but if they're American citizens who carry foreign passport, how are they not traitors? And why are you talking about letting them out? If convicted on an impeachment charge, they face up to 3 years in prison and $250,000 fine. That's a lot of money for 3 years in prison. $250,000 fine is generally what you get for murdering people. According to the affidavit, for 3 years in prison. According to the affidavit, Mr. Taherzada, Mr. T-A-H, Herzada, DEA, not Terher, Ta, like Tata, Taher, or is it Taher Zadeh, Mr. Taherzadeh, provided members of the Secret Service and Homeland Security employees rent-free apartments, iPhones. Where'd they get the money? Mr. Terzan also offered them what he described as official government vehicles. But official government vehicles for who? He's not getting no official government vehicles from Pakistan. He's essentially claiming these government vehicles are legit government vehicles that you can drive around. They're all insured and all street legal. Don't worry about it. Who's paying for that? Since they're not actually government vehicles. So you need the price of the vehicles. You need to uh, augment them, change them to make them police vehicles, right? Police suspensions, right? That whole kit, as well as communication, right? And then you just give it to. They had money from an outside source that no one is talking about. Because if I look as a retired cop, I've met guys who were buffs. We call them buffs. Some are for firemen, right? Some are for policemen. Every now and then you see military buffs with going with all the racks on them, right? And the military guys know that they're not really military people. But those guys don't come in with, hey, why don't you come over to this mock-up military base I have, or this jet, or this tank, or this, or this that. They came with resources. That's the thing. Who gave them the money for the resources? Oop, there you go. Let's check the chat. Are we still? Is our chat still good? Can I get a hey yo from my brothers? All right. 250,000. Boom. According to affidavit, private Homeland Security, scratching TV's drones, offer them. This looks like the same story, but it looks like what one of them did was edit it. Let's look up that NPR story. Hold it. Wait a minute. Do I even have this still here? I do. Where's the NPR story? We just read the NPR story. Who wrote the NPR story? Deepa Shivaram. I think this. Okay, what's the second chapter? Huh. I'm sorry. I just recognized the sentence. I'm wondering where I read it. Okay, well, I guess not. It feels like it's the same story. Maybe this is the chapter because I thought it was this chapter. This chapter hits me as with a alleged provided rent free apartments, iPhones, and a flat screen TV, other items to win over Secret Service agent and one employee of DHS. He also offered what we call official government vehicles and office pay assault rifle. All right, so the assault rifle thing is stuck in another chapter, but I didn't read any. Ooh, in a statement. Okay, we're not gonna finish reading this. Um, Two men masquerading as Department of Home members of the security director, telling and were charging us that both men FBI. The FBI arrested both men whom are U.S. citizens on Wednesday in Southeast Washington. The 2 year scheme. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Let's stop discouraging people, maligning people's good integrity with my wild bullshit. But what we want to do is come down here and see what the Pakistanis said about it. In the statement, Silver said that Chambers was working with investigators involved in the case citizens restricted from accessing Secret Service equipment and system. The Secret Service adheres to the highest levels of professional. Yeah, they do. The Secret Service adheres to the highest level of professional standards and conduct, and will remain in active coordination with the Department of Justice and Homeland Security. The spokesman Kang Lee said Kang Lee. In a statement, the Pakistani embassy said on Friday, "Ha! Whew! Let's do this thing." In a statement, The Pakistani embassy said on Friday several media outlets have carried a news story mentioning that one individual named Haider, Haider, Haider Ali, who was arrested on the charges of impersonating a federal agent in Washington, D.C., had claimed that he was affiliated with the Pakistani Inter-Service Intelligence. The claim of Mr. Haider Ali is totally fallacious. The embassy categorically rejects this false claim. If you are caught, killed, or captured, the IMF will disavow any knowledge of your actions. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Where'd all that money come from? Who's in the chat? Anybody in the chat can tell me where the money came from? His mom? His uncle? Maybe an aunt? Who in the chat might know? The chat. Who in the chat might know? In a statement, the Pakistan Embassy sent on Friday, quote, several media outlets have carried a news story mentioning that one individual named Haider Ali, who was arrested on a charge of impersonating a federal agent in Washington, D.C., has claimed that he was affiliated with Pakistan Inter-Service Intelligence. That claim of Mr. Haider Ali is totally fallacious. The embassy categorically rejects this false claim. The embassy rejects a false claim, but does the nation, end quote. It was not the first time that the conduct of a member of the Secret Service had drawn intense scrutiny to the agency. It was not the first time that conduct of members of the Secret Service had drawn intense scrutiny. In 2012, several agents resigned or faced their dismissal after revelation that they had engaged in misconduct while protecting President Barack Obama during an overseas trip to Colombia, including encounters with prostitutes. Encounters. Don't bang prostitutes, guys. It'll cost you your gig. And then you got wife explaining to do. Yeah, lose your gig and your wife, all in one stroke. Well, maybe not one stroke. Stop it! You're killing me. All right, we're gonna wrap this shit up in 5 minutes because we're cruising into 9 o'clock, and you guys got to get your bedtime in. And some of you want to watch other streamers who stream later. Should I move my streaming hour? No, I don't want people to be this agitated at night. Me covering politics is good for mid afternoon. All right. The investigation, Mr. Chazem, began after a letter carrier with the United States Postal Service was assaulted, really, in March at an apartment complex where the men had been living. A U.S. postal inspector went to the complex to interview witnesses, including the two men. The Postal Service has a police and investigative unit who will arrest your ass, charge you, and send you to prison. They are legit. And it makes sense that they would be legit. They handle everybody's mail. People would send drugs and bombs through the mail, right? The Postal Service has I would say the Postal Service policing agency, which I took a test for 1 trillion years ago, is more legit than the Capitol Police Agency. Absolutely. I would say that without fear of without fear of what? Without fear of other law enforcement agencies saying that I was wrong. Let's check the chat. Did James Franco get penalized? Did I miss that? What did James Franco? James Franco just took an evening off. He said he was innocent, and I didn't do it. And I think the cops may have talked to him. They said no charges. The women said, "Well, woe's me, woe's me." They filed no charges. James Franco is Jake, as we say in the hood, right? He's good. That other guy from the '70s show, he may have some issues. He's got to beat 3 rape cases, and that's one is a lot. He's got 3. I don't know much about his case. Only we could look it up, but not tonight. We're not. The investigation began after a letter, and so the post inspector interviewed these 2 guys. They could have just been like, "No, I don't know anything about it. You live here? Yeah. So, what do you do? Small businessman. Why do you need to lie to the postal inspector? Small businessman. Yeah, okay. All right, bye. Thank you, man. Why do you need to get into it with the postal guy? He's a trained investigator, postal service or not. He's still a trained. He can spot you lying. I still do this. I can hear the lies in people. I've been lied to so often. I'm sure lawyers, judges, right? Cops of all stripes, people who deal with a lot of people. So maybe corrections officers, teachers of high school, right? versus the cute little lies preschoolers tell you. And some people are really good at lying. The men told the inspector that they were investigated, but see, there you go. You should have kept your mouth shut. The men told the inspector that they were investigators with the U.S. Postal Investigative Unit. According to the affidavit, they said they were part of an undercover investigation into gang-related activity as well as an inquiry into the January 6, 2021 attack on the Capitol. So you're doing gang activity and wow, that is a broad spectrum of shit you have to handle. That's like I have to write parking tickets and solve murders, right? Not not usually what you do one or the other. Uh, he's helping investigate one of the biggest things in American history, as well as common gang bullshit. This is what happens. So the inspector took this down. He wrote their names. He got the address, wrote the apartment number, went back. Spoke to this guy, and then they ran them. Oh, you spoke to these two? Yeah, they don't have any listing for this. This is federal government, right? I want to know who you spoke to. I spoke to True Armor. He lives here. He's a retired policeman. He says this. He's got a stupid podcast. And so I'm gonna go. Tom on read here. I example, quick story. I worked with a guy who was not retired, who left the uniform Secret Service to work for in New York. He said they used to take those computers and look up porn stars and Playboy models, right? And they would go. They had no information on them. They would go known aliases. So if you were Miss November and your name was Amy Smith, a common name like that, Jane Smith, super common name like that. Known aliases: Jane Smith, possible work, model, nude model, possibly Playboy. All your shit comes back. Their computers are not like yours and my computers. The federal government spends money on themselves. We know this. $10,000 toilet seats when I was a kid, right? So don't think that they've got some wonky bullshit computer setup system. They can go known aliases true podcast, and all my shit's gonna come up. All my credit, all my financials, my educational history, the car I drive, the color, the last statement, the last payment stated, blah blah blah, the last big purchase, where you live. Then it'll kick off to your relatives. Boom, 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 boom. Click on my brother. All his shit comes up. Right? I don't think it's illegal. They're the government. They should know who the fuck they're dealing with. They might want to come and arrest me. Right? Oh, he's known to always hang out with gunmen, so we're gonna need more people. Versus, he's got no friends. We can send three guys to pick him up. Right? That is real. Um, so something tells me they just plug him into their standard database and was like, no such person in Department of Homeland exists. And they were like, huh? Yeah, hey Bob. Yeah, in your roster of employees, do you got so and so who works here? Yeah, we got a ton of them, but none. One lives here, one lives there. We got somebody with a different middle name. No, no, he's Arab. Well, no, that's a unique name. Yeah, we don't have any of those. He lives here. No, we don't have any of that. Huh. All right. Now you got a case with two open cogs. We found nothing on both of these guys. I'll give it to Jim. Let Jim look into it. And then someone opened up a case on them. And it all got because there was a fight and they lied to an investigator. Like the investigator was just going to take your word for it and not look any further. Uh, we're working the January 6th and gang attacks. All right. Other residents of the building told inspectors that the men had identified themselves as Homeland Security special agents, that they used their apartment unit in the building, and that they drove around in a black SUV equipped with emergency lights they described as an official Homeland Security vehicle. So they were essentially using the house as like a hub. Why would you tell the neighbors that? Here's the first thing. If you're a cop and you're doing any shit, the neighbors don't know about it if it's official. And if it's not official, the neighbors only know you as a neighbor. So you have friends over and bobs over. The car may be there because it might be at work, or you may be able to drive to and from work. But you're not doing work there. And they implied they were using the building to do work. Right? And then after he saw this, he was probably like, huh. The resident said that Mr. Taherzada and Mr. Ali placed various pieces of surveillance equipment around the building and told residents that they had access to their cell phones and personal information. It was not clear why they told this to residents. Like I said, look, I've been lied to a lot for my job, and I like to talk to people, and I like to hear people's problems. I was really good at that in bars, so I have an ear for this shit. It's like the ear I think mothers get. They know when their kid needs them, and when that cry is, he's just, you know, versus oh my god, something happened to my baby, right? It's that. So it's like, so it takes a really good liar to get me. And people are, you know, a lot of people are shit liars, but the ones who are good liars. All right. That is it for us. Are we even going to finish reading this? Nah, it's like 4 paragraphs. We can peruse the last 4 paragraphs. Why would you tell everybody? Why would you tell the residents that? The inspector also learned that Mr. Tahazar were very contact with several members of the Secret Service who lived in the same building that the man had given them gifts, Mr. Elias wrote. So they told him something. He went, huh. Okay, what you guys know about this guy, this postal service guy who was beat up? You know this guy. He lives around here. Oh, hey, and by the way, do you know the two DEA agents? Oh yeah. Uh, I don't know what the name. Uh, I forget their first name. Right, you're right. Bob and Jim or whatever. Then yeah. Well, you know, oh yeah, that's Secret Service agent, and they do blah blah blah, and da 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 da, and blah blah blah, and let me tell you this, and they did this around here, and blah blah blah. He was like, oh really? Oh really? Yeah, okay, great. All right, thank you. Went back and was like, something's really weird with these two guys, and they open, and there you have it, right? Uh, why would you tell them that we're monitoring your cell phones? If I lived in this building, I wouldn't have liked them. I would have known. Once I heard that, I'd have known that they were up to bullshit. The question now becomes, would I have reported them? And yeah, because I've done it before. The bad guy needs to go down. My mic keeps getting lower. I wonder if I might have a whisper mode on this mic, so it goes up and down with my volume. Um, given he'd been given gifts of federal agents. The inspector reported the information to Homeland Security. Good job, which referred the case to the FBI. Good job. One witness told investigators of being recruited by Mr. One witness told investigators of being recruited by Mr. Tahazada and Mr. Ali to be a Homeland Security employee and serve on a task force. So not only are you going to hire you, you don't have to go to the academy. You don't have to get gun training. You don't have to know the base minimum of the law. And not just that, we're going to put you on a task force immediately. Wow, these guys are fucking full of shit. As part of the recruitment process, the men shot the witness with an airsoft rifle to evaluate their pain and reaction. Wow. These guys should get way more than 3 years. Um, they're sounding less and less like federal agents, guys sent here, because they sound like fucktards. But I'm still curious as to where you got the money from for all this stuff. Where'd you get the money from? The men told witnesses who were not identified that they need to conduct a search on an individual that provided support to the Department of Defense and intelligence community. They need to conduct research. They need to conduct research on an individual who provided support to the Department of Defense and intelligence community. Why are you conducting research on him? Are you conducting research on him so he can get this job? This whole thing. This is that okay. Mr. Austin carried a Glock 19. So a Glock 19 is a 40 millimeter weapon, right? The normal Glock 9s are 9 millimeters. They carry 9 millimeter ammunition. Glock 19s carry that fat. Having a Glock 19 is like having well, we can look it up. Having a Glock 19 is like having a Dirty Harry fucking revolver. Glock 9 versus Glock. Here's the thing about Glocks, though, German guns. You can shoot that thing all day. Look how much bigger it is. You can shoot that thing all fucking day, and it just fucking. You don't have to clean it. It's weird how good a gun it is. Look at all the guns. Look at all the guns. So yeah, Glock 17, Glock 19. We were looking at Glock. I guess they don't do Glock 9s anymore. Here they are, Glock 17, Glock. Um, look how much. Yeah, these guys. We would call these guys busts. So the question now is ammo. Where they get the money from? Were they independently rich? Ugh, good lord. Don't look the modern fucking era, guys. Why are you putting up tiny rounds of ammunition? Better. All right. So, um, the one with the silver casing is 9 millimeters. Is what normal most cops use. The Glock 40 doesn't. The Glock 40 weapon isn't on here. How about Glock 40? Yeah. Look how fat the ammo is. 9 millimeter, 6.9, 40 millimeter. Yeah, yeah. It's yeah. Look, now we're in a segue into guns. Uh, let's just wrap this up. Mr. Carey, the Glock 19. He sent one Secret Service agent pictures of himself in tactical gear bearing the words "police." In another photo, he posted in front of a stack of large cases that often used to carry firearms. He also sent an agent a photo that he claimed showed a training session for Homeland Security. The investigation revealed that the photos were sent in the stock photo from the internet. There's no record that he had participated in such photo, obviously. Mr. Snyder told the Secret Service that he worked in the gang unit. Blah, blah, blah. Credit to me, whatever. The Secret Service does not have a gang unit. Unless it's the local Secret Service. Unless it's the uniform Secret Service and they police gangs of DC, but I don't know. For about 1 year, he provided him a rent-free apartment that will cost $40,000. Quote, although Mr. Taharzada was very outspoken about his job, end quote, Mr. Elias wrote. Quote, he claimed that he was part of a covert task force. So they're saying he did a lot of talking for somebody who's supposed to be a spy. Ugh. What they didn't address, I wanted to know where they got the money. They didn't address where he got the money. Here is your problem with this case as I see it. You got to explain where that money came from. And you haven't. Are they independently wealthy who just loved cops and were stupid? Because if they were, you know what happened? Lawyers would show up. My client is like when that Robert Durst guy killed those people. High powered lawyers showed up to get him off because he had money, right? If they had money, high powered lawyers would have showed up with a million excuses. That didn't happen, right? So they have money from a source, maybe not anymore. Um, Pakistan, good sweet Jesus, what is going on with people? And these were the two guys. Here's the thing, just because, yeah, see, man, yeah. So this is the guy, this gray haired guy. All right, well, it is what it is. All right, that is it for me. Oh, I'm getting cold. That's it for me. I will see you in the next one. The next one's tomorrow, 6 p.m. 6:30 rather. Excuse me, p.m. Please come on through and talk politics with us and social stuff as we laugh at these people because they don't make any sense. I mean, really don't make any sense. Um, yeah, yeah. Somebody's gonna have to explain themselves. Where does money come from? And I think you can likely add more charges, right? Give somebody, $40,000 a year for this apartment. What was he using it for? What was the agent using it for a year? Maybe he didn't use it at all. But how do you give someone a $40,000 apartment? It didn't say what he did, right? None of these stories tell us what the guy does for a living. And if he had money, they say so and so is independently wealthy. He owns a couple of laundromats and he did this stupid thing, or he's an internet tech guy and he did this thing, or his dad is rich and gives him money. He did this thing. There's no talk about where the money came from, which might be a problem. All right, that's it for us. All right, we will see you guys in the next one. Please show up here tomorrow and hang out with me as we do more stuff. Uh, we're here usually every day. Usually, I generally take Thursday or Mondays off, depending. Um, but we're here every day. Sundays, the Sunday session, we're here at 10:30 a.m. Come get some of that. That is awesome. But normally we're here every day, 6:30 every day. Please come through. I want to thank all of you, and I will see you. Did we miss one? I don't think so. I'll see you in the next one, unless someone's got one. Anybody got anything before we exit out here? How are you doing, William? You still in the chat? Yeah. All right. So I guess that's it. Let's go here and do that. And we'll go here. I want to thank all of you for coming through. We will be back tomorrow, 6:30 to let's cut it this all this shit off. Uh to possibly play a little music. What is it? Do a little dance, make a little love, get down tonight. Uh come on through tomorrow, won't you? I'm sure something else will be happening and it'll be awesome. And we can talk about it. I want to thank you and hope you have a good night. I hope your weekend is going to be killer. Start it strong, end it strong. See you in the next one. Peace out.